Good morning, Facebook family and YouTube subscribers. Today is Wednesday. It is March 18, 2015. So the past few days, Common the rapper appeared on The Daily Show, and he did an interview about racism, and he commented that racism was a way to end racism. This is what he wrote. He said, the rapper, actor Common, who had just won an Oscar and a Golden Globe for his song Glory, which was in the movie Selma. He appeared on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and he opened up on his thoughts on how black people and white people can move past the things that keep racism afloat. Common acknowledged that racism still exists and said we all have seen it raise its ugly head, but he said in order to get past the current state of affairs in which people point out racism and become more divided, people need to try a different approach. His suggestion, he asks that blacks and other minorities extend a hand in love instead of fists. Common says racism is not over, but he said we all know that there's been some bad history in our country, and we know that racism exists. I'm like saying, hey y'all, I'm extending the hand and I'm hoping that we can get past this. So Common wants African Americans to extend a hand to end racism. Okay. Common must live in a fantasy world. African Americans and minorities have no control over racism and racist actions taken against them. We've been extending our hands for decades, centuries, and nothing that positive has come out of it. So African Americans don't hold the key to solving racism. That's a fantasy. It's just not true. There's nothing we can do or say that will stop racism. It's up to whites to make that decision. We can complain about it all day long. We've complained about it for decades and for centuries. But until whites wake up and realize my actions are racist, I'm doing something against another human being, I need to make some changes. They have to make that decision. We can offer our hand, we can offer peace offerings, we can offer everything you can imagine. But until they realize their own issues, until they stop and reflect and look at their racist ways, those who are racist, not all whites are racist, but, not all whites are racist, just keeping it real. But we have to understand, they have to deal with their own issues. They have to be the ones to resolve this. That's the only way racism is going to end. You ever dealt with an alcoholic? Well, I have. They don't realize they drink. They don't realize that most alcoholics do not understand that they are an alcoholic. They just think they drink. But they have a drinking problem. And alcoholics have to come to the conclusion themselves that they are alcoholics and that they have a drinking problem and they need to seek help. There's nothing you can do or say to that person to make them go seek help. They have to wake up and do this on their own. That's the only way they will ever resolve their alcoholism problem, is to wake up and accept it. Racism works the same way. There's nothing I can do or say to somebody white to prove to them, to get them to understand that they're racist. Because they're not going to listen to me because they don't see themselves as being racist. Let me give you an example. When I first moved into a home up in Buckhead, I put the house under contract, and this was in 2001, right prior to September 11th. So in the spring of 2001, me and Earl were buying a home up in Buckhead in a predominantly white neighborhood. I put the house under contract, and we looked at the house for several months. The house was on the market languishing. We knew the house had issues. It needed to be corrected. And we were building and renovating houses. We thought, well, this is a great project home to do. We can make this house nice. We know what needs to be done to it to make it nice. Put the house under contract. The next day, I'm at the house with my contractors, and we're looking around trying to figure out what are we going to do? Now, I just put the house on the contract the day before. I met the realtor several times. This was a big decision. This was not a cheap house, so we were trying to make sure that this was the right decision. So I'm in the backyard of the house. The front door is open because we're in the house. The contractors are looking around. We're doing our inspections. We're trying to make sure this is the right place. I'm in the backyard with the contractors and some friends. Next thing I know, a white woman comes up to me. And I'm standing there, and she knew exactly who I was. She came up to me and she just said, "Are you going to cut your grass?" Now, I'm confused. I don't know who this white woman is. I've never seen this woman before in my entire life. I'm looking around like, are you asking me, am I going to cut my grass? I'm looking at the grass. I'm like, well, the grass, in my mind, I'm thinking the grass is already cut. What is she talking about? And then she got closer to me and she just was frank. Are you going to cut your grass and maintain your yard? So at this point, I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. So I'm like, well, who are you? I don't own this house. The owner of the home, if the grass is cut, has he not been maintaining the yard or something? And she's like, no, I live up the street and I heard that you're going to be buying this home and I just want to make sure you're going to cut your grass and maintain your yard. Now, this woman didn't walk up and say, "Hey, my name is Molly, and I live across the street, and I'm so excited to welcome you to the neighborhood. Oh, and here's some baked cookies, and I'm so glad you're going to be moving in." No, that heifer wanted to know, are you going to cut your grass? So in her mind, she was thinking, here come a nigga, and he ain't going to cut his grass. Now, her house across the street wasn't all that great any damn way. I looked over there, later on, and said, this is what this is. I'm buying a beautiful home. She over there with a little... I didn't get that. And so, but I understood where she was coming from. And I was very polite to that woman. More polite, because every contractor was standing there. And my friend said I should have cussed that bitch out. But I didn't. I stayed very respectful to her. And I walked her through that house, because she had already came through the front door, all the way through the back door into the backyard. I walked her white ass back to that back door, all the way to that front door, now that long ass driveway to the street, talking to her. And then assuring her that I was going to maintain my yard and cut my grass, like I've always done on every damn house I ever owned. That was racist. She was being racist, but see, in her mind, she was just making sure the yard was going to stay cut. So it makes me wonder, would she have asked this same question had I been a white guy buying that house? Would she have raced their ass, got out of her car, and ran through that damn house to go ask, "Mr. White Man, are you going to cut your grass?" Or would she have just assumed because he's white? So there was some assumptions she was making that I wasn't going to maintain my yard, I wasn't going to cut the grass, I had to rip all that shit out any damn way. The house was a fucking mess. The yard was a mess. There was no landscaping. We spent $150,000 on landscaping on that termite-infested house. Had the best looking yard on that whole street. She was so concerned she should have been over there with a lawnmower and cutting her own damn grass and putting down some real sod. She didn't put grass down till after I put my grass down, and she'd been in her house for several years. She built a new house, her and her husband. After they saw me doing all that work, then she went out and put sod down in her yard. But she was so concerned about, was I going to cut my grass? Racism exists. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing nobody can do about it who's black. Whites have to be the ones to resolve that issue. It doesn't matter what we do or say or what our actions as African Americans. We can extend, I can extend my hand in love all I want. That doesn't mean that they're going to accept it. That doesn't mean that they're going to still view us as human beings. It's up to them to make that decision. And I think it sounds good what Common's trying to say and do, but it's not accurate and it's not truthful. And it's not correct. Common's comments about us extending our hand are just not accurate. It's not up to us. We don't control how white people view us. We never have. If you like my videos, please click like, share them with family members and friends. I'm about to get out of here and enjoy this Wednesday. It's a beautiful day in Atlanta. Please subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to reading you guys' comments and what do you think about comments. You know something? Comments about race relations in America and how we can resolve these issues by extending our hands in love. We love you, white folks. Anyway, I'm out. Enjoy your Wednesday.